She arrived looking like she had nothing. A small girl, alone, carrying almost nothing in her hands. But look behind her. One by one, servants carry red lacquer boxes through the gate. Her father's legacy, a high official's wealth, the inheritance of a daughter whose family ranked above the very people smiling at the door. She arrived with everything, and the smiling people at the gate, they saw both. They saw the girl who had no one left to protect her, and they saw the boxes. They built a garden to hold beauty inside walls, pavilions over lotus ponds, flowering trees, lanterns hung between the branches, young scholars writing poetry in the afternoon light, young women laughing by the water. Inside this garden, the Jia family believed they had captured something permanent. They had not. This is always how illusion begins. Someone builds a wall around something beautiful and says, "This will last forever." And for a while, it works. The lanterns glow, the poetry flows, the water stays clear, and no one yet speaks of what it costs or what it cannot keep. He found in her the only person who understood him completely. She found in him the only place she almost felt at home. She saw what the others could not. That flowers fall. That beauty does not wait. While she gathered petals from the ground, the family upstairs was counting boxes. She buried what was beautiful because she knew everything beautiful is already leaving. A family is also a machine. It has gears and levers. It has ledgers and seals. It calculates what it holds and what it might yet gain. And it manages everything it can reach. The people it loves, it manages. The futures it fears, it manages. The alliances it needs, the marriages that will secure another generation of comfort, all of it managed. This is not evil. This is simply what a machine does. It does not pause to ask whether the thing being managed has a soul that resists the process. It moves the pieces. It presses the seal. It folds a letter and moves on to the next matter requiring attention. They were not cruel people. That is perhaps the hardest part of this story to hold. They brought medicine. They sat by her bed with genuine worry on their faces. They called in doctors. They adjusted the temperature of her rooms. In all of this, they were sincere. They genuinely cared. And still, while the servants attended the sick girl at the front of the scene, somewhere in the background a letter was being written. A decision was being made. A seal was being pressed on a paper that would determine the rest of her life. They managed her like they managed everything else they held. With warmth, with efficiency, with complete certainty that they knew what was best. This is how the deepest harm is done. Not with cruelty, but with good intentions and a seal. The color of joy in China is red. Red for weddings. Red for celebration. Red for the beginning of a life together. And so, they dressed the lion red. Red silk on every surface. Red lanterns filling the hall with warm, festive light. Red robes on the groom. A red veil on the bride. They surrounded the lie with music so that no one would hear what was underneath. He walked toward the veiled figure, believing with his whole heart that the person waiting was the one who had understood him in ways no one else ever had. He had been ill with love and grief for months. He was walking toward what he believed was his reason to live. And the family watched, some with satisfaction, some unable to look. She did not know it yet, not in words, but her body knew. She had been burning her letters for 3 days. Everything she had written to him, every poem, every word he had sent back. On the other side of the mansion, they were lighting red candles for the wedding. The bride wore a red veil. That was the rule. The face stays hidden until the ceremony is done. He believed the voice. He believed the robes. He believed the family. When the veil finally lifted, it was a different face. Across the courtyard, through 3 walls and a garden, she lay dying. She heard the wedding music. She understood, and she let go. He came looking for her. He walked to her room. The door was open. The silk was folded. The candle had burned to nothing. She was already gone when he said yes. She was already gone before the wedding ended. The hands that had seized were seized from. Imperial guards came to the same gate through which the red boxes had once entered. Now they carried things out. Silks, ledgers, furniture, treasures. The family that had held everything stood and watched their hands being emptied. This is not punishment in the Buddhist sense. There is no judge here. No cosmic revenge. This is simply the nature of gripping. When you grip tightly enough for long enough, the very act of gripping creates the conditions for loss. The tighter the fist, the more devastating when the hand finally opens. The Jia family gripped the world, and the world, in time, left their hands the same way it had come, through the gate. He had carried the jade stone his entire life. It was said to have been in his mouth when he was born, a piece of heaven brought into the human world. He never chose to carry it. It came with him. It defined him. Everyone around him attached meaning to it, his destiny, his worth, the proof of something divine about him. For years he held it because he did not know how to set it down. Because what is given to you before you can speak? How do you release that? But on this day, in this quiet room, he held it in both hands for a long time. And then he set it down, not with anger, not with ceremony, simply, gently, the way you set down something heavy that you have been carrying for too long. And the moment he did, he was lighter than he had ever been in his life. This is not an ending. This is the stone returning to heaven, having held everything, having lost everything, holding nothing, free. Before the story began, a stone wished to taste human life. A monk and a priest carried it into the world. Now the dream is over. The stone returns to heaven. Everything that was held, released. A single petal falls on still water. The ripples move outward and disappear. 假作真实，真亦假。无为有处，有还无。When the false is taken as real, the real becomes false. Where nothing is treated as something, something becomes nothing. This was written 400 years ago to warn us. Not about the Jia family. About us. About the things we're gripping right now, at this very moment, believing they will last. What are you chasing in the red dust of this world? And when your hand finally opens, as it must, as it always does, what remains?